I still remember the way she looked at me the last time I ran away. Not physically, not with my feet. I ran with excuses. I ran with silence. I ran from difficult conversations, painful truths, and every chance I had to let someone see who I really was. For years, I convinced myself it was easier that way. Then one rainy Thursday afternoon, my first love looked at me across a crowded hospital cafeteria and asked a question that stopped my heart. "Are you running again?" 4 simple words. 4 words that carried 10 years of memories. And this time, I finally told the truth. Her name was Emily. We met when we were 17 in a small Ohio town where everybody knew everybody's business. She was the kind of person who made strangers feel welcome and friends feel important. Emily volunteered at animal shelters, helped elderly neighbors carry groceries, and somehow remembered every birthday in town. People loved her because she made them feel seen. I loved her because she saw me. At least, I thought she did. Back then, I was the quiet kid with big dreams and bigger fears. My father had left when I was 12, and somewhere along the way, I learned that depending on people only led to disappointment. Emily spent 2 years trying to convince me otherwise. She succeeded more than anyone else ever had. By senior year, we were inseparable. Everyone assumed we'd stay together forever. We probably would have, if I hadn't run. The trouble started when I received a scholarship to attend college in California. It was everything I'd ever wanted. A chance to escape. A chance to reinvent myself. A chance to become someone different. Emily was thrilled for me. At least, that's what she said. But every time we talked about the future, I saw sadness hiding behind her smile. One night, sitting on the hood of my truck beneath a sky full of stars, she asked the question I'd been avoiding. What happens to us? I knew she deserved an honest answer. Instead, I gave her silence. Weeks passed, then months. Every difficult conversation ended the same way. I changed the subject. I disappeared. I made excuses. Finally, 3 weeks before graduation, Emily stood outside my house with tears in her eyes. "Are we breaking up?" she asked. I could have told her I was terrified. I could have told her I loved her so much that losing her felt unbearable. I could have told her I didn't know how to make long distance work. Instead, I said the worst possible thing. "Maybe it's better if we focus on our own futures." Her face crumpled. Not because I ended things, because I didn't fight for them, because I acted like what we had didn't matter. She nodded once, got into her car, and drove away. That was the last time I saw her. For 10 years, life moved forward, or at least it looked like it did. I graduated college, built a successful career, bought a house, made money, collected accomplishments. But something always felt missing. Every relationship I started ended the same way. Whenever things became serious, I found a reason to leave. Whenever vulnerability appeared, I disappeared. Whenever someone got too close, I ran. It became a pattern so familiar I stopped noticing it. Then my younger sister called. Our mother had suffered a stroke. I packed a bag and flew home immediately. The next few weeks became a blur of hospital rooms, worried relatives, and sleepless nights. Mom survived. Thankfully, the doctors expected a full recovery. But recovery takes time. One afternoon, exhausted and emotionally drained, I walked into the hospital cafeteria for coffee. That's when I saw her. Emily, 10 years older, 10 years wiser, still unmistakably Emily. She was sitting near a window, reading something on a tablet. For a moment, I thought I was imagining things. Then she looked up. Our eyes met, and suddenly I was 17 again. She stood first. I froze. Then she smiled. The same smile I'd spent years trying to forget. "Daniel," I laughed nervously. "Hi, Emily." It felt strange, and familiar, and painful, all at once. We talked for an hour. She worked at the hospital now as a patient advocate, helping families navigate difficult medical situations. It sounded exactly like something Emily would do. Helping people wasn't her job. It was who she was. Before leaving, she asked about my mother. The concern in her voice was genuine, not forced, not polite. Genuine. That was Emily. Always caring, always giving, always choosing kindness. Over the following weeks, We crossed paths frequently, sometimes in hallways, sometimes in the cafeteria, sometimes while helping our mothers during physical therapy sessions. Her mother was recovering from knee replacement surgery. The universe apparently had a strange sense of humor. Slowly, awkwardness faded. Friendship returned. Then one afternoon, everything changed. We were walking through the hospital garden when we noticed an elderly man sitting alone on a bench. He looked confused, lost. Emily immediately approached him. Within minutes, she discovered he had early-stage dementia and had become separated from his family. She sat beside him, held his hand, and listened patiently while he repeated the same stories 3 times. No frustration, no judgment, just kindness. Eventually, his worried daughter found him. She was crying with relief. The woman hugged Emily and thanked her repeatedly. Afterward, I asked something that had been bothering me. How do you do that? Emily tilted her head. Do what? Care so much for everyone. She smiled softly. People are usually carrying battles we can't see. That sentence stayed with me, because she was right. Everyone carried something, including me, especially me. A week later, my mother was discharged. The night before she went home, Emily and I sat outside the hospital watching the sunset. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then she looked at me, really looked at me, the way she always had, and she asked quietly, "Are you running again?" The question hit harder than any accusation could have. I knew exactly what she meant, because she wasn't talking about geography. She wasn't talking about careers. She was talking about me, the real me, the version I'd spent years hiding. I stared at the ground. Part of me wanted to laugh it off, change the subject, make a joke, do what I'd always done, run. Then I noticed something. Emily wasn't angry. She wasn't demanding answers. She simply cared enough to ask. And for the first time in my life, I was tired of carrying everything alone. So I told the truth. I've been scared my entire life. The words surprised even me. Emily stayed silent, listening. I continued. When my dad left, I convinced myself everyone leaves eventually. My voice cracked. So I learned to leave first. Tears filled my eyes. I left relationships, friendships, opportunities, conversations. The years of pain poured out. I thought if nobody got close enough, nobody could hurt me. Emily reached over and squeezed my hand. Nothing more. Just a simple gesture. And somehow it gave me courage. I wasn't running from people, I said. I was running from being vulnerable. For several moments, neither of us spoke. Then Emily smiled through tears. Thank you. I frowned. For what? For finally letting someone see you. That broke me completely. Because all those years, I thought vulnerability was weakness. But sitting there beside her, I realized it was the opposite. It took far more courage to tell the truth than to hide behind walls. Over the next few months, something remarkable happened. Not because Emily fixed me. She didn't. People aren't projects. People heal themselves. But kindness creates space for healing. And Emily gave me that space. She encouraged honesty, not perfection. She encouraged growth, not guilt. Most importantly, she showed me that being loved wasn't about pretending to be fearless. It was about being willing to be seen. One Saturday morning, we volunteered together at a community food drive. Hundreds of families attended. Some needed groceries. Others came to help. One little girl approached our table carrying a box almost bigger than she was. Emily knelt beside her. That's a lot to carry. The girl grinned. My mum says when people help each other, nobody has to carry everything alone. Emily looked at me. Neither of us said a word. We didn't need to, because this little girl had unknowingly summarized everything we'd learned. Nobody should carry everything alone. Not grief, not fear, not regret, not life. A year later, my mother hosted a backyard barbecue to celebrate her recovery. Family, friends, neighbors, so everyone came. As the evening sun painted the sky gold, I stood beside Emily watching children play in the yard. Funny, she said. What? You spent years trying to escape this town. I laughed. Turns out I was trying to escape myself. She squeezed my hand, and I looked around, at my recovered mother, at people helping one another, at a community built on compassion, at the woman who had once loved me enough to ask difficult questions, and later, loved me enough to listen to honest answers. Then I smiled. I'm done running. The words felt different this time. Real, true, permanent. Because life isn't about avoiding pain. It's about finding people who help you carry it. It's about choosing kindness when bitterness would be easier. It's about opening your heart even when experience tells you to keep it closed. Most of all, it's about telling the truth, especially when the truth is scary, especially when the truth makes you vulnerable. Because sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do isn't climbing a mountain, changing careers, or chasing a dream. Sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is stop running and trust someone enough to stay. When my first love asked if I was running again, she could have received another excuse, another silence, another version of the man I used to be. Instead, she received the truth. And that truth changed everything. Not because it erased the past, but because it finally gave the future a chance. And sometimes, that's all any of us really need, a chance.